Welcome to our evening slot for day 4 of Makeup Week India. We've had a great day today. We had Nina in the morning talking about education and the importance of choosing the right education platform and how important it is actually to understand the curriculum and agenda when working with, when trying to get the right education and the right academy. Then at 2 o'clock we had a pre-recorded session with Marvian Beck, who's celebrating 25 years as one of India's top makeup artists. I hope you guys logged into that. It's on our Facebook page and YouTube page as well. And today I'm super excited to be talking to Armand Beasley, who is a global, he doesn't call himself celebrity, but he's a global makeup artist. He's the official makeup artist to the BAFTAs, which is like the UK equivalent of the Oscars. He's also worked as a makeup artist to the Oscars as well. He's worked with politicians at the G20 summit. He's also celebrating 25 years as a makeup artist, having started off his career in a band. So he started off, I'm not sure if he was playing instruments, but that's where his career started before he by chance got into beauty and makeup. And he's going to be talking about cruelty-free makeup and products, and actually how to use them as artists and to be able to create great looks. So for those of you that have queries around, is it possible to create great looks using cruelty-free, here's Armand. I'm just waiting for him, so he's coming in, and there's Armand. Hello. You got a tan?
Yeah. It's 27 degrees here.
Yeah, but it's like 34 here. How have you got a tan in lockdown?
Well, we're not really in lockdown. We can go out and exercise as often as we want now.
That is insane. You look more Asian than me right now.
I can't even see the top of your head. What's happened?
Oh God!
You need to sink.
So that's a good point. Rather than moving back all the time, is that better?
Yeah, a bit further.
Is that better?
Can you go any lower?
All right.
That's better. Yeah. That's better.
Well, so we just went through the video of the morning, and I thought it looked fine, and then he showed me, and it's only that. I'm like, oh my God. But Nana forgot to tell me that she couldn't see my top of my head.
Oh, well. Anyway,
which I think most people think is because I'm trying to hide this Asian Afro kind of thing.
Just bend down a little bit. Let me see the top of your head.
Oh, it's a mess.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah, that is getting bigger and bigger.
And I actually have just gelled it back. I was telling Jane I was going to do a DIY at home, and she said, "Don't you dare! You're representing Salon International and HJ magazine, so you are not allowed to cut your hair and do a bad job."
You could give it a go, though. She won't know.
But how are you keeping?
I'm really good. Yes, really, really good. And thanks for doing this. It'd be great to talk about cruelty-free and also the impact that it's having on global cosmetics, not just obviously with India, but global cosmetic industry.
Yeah, good. So we'll get straight into that. Hi, Seema. Thanks for joining in. So let's get straight to the topic. I mean, I've done a quick intro before you logged in about you're an official artist for the BAFTAs. You work with the Oscars. You work with politicians. You work with real royalty as well as celeb royalty. Around the world. You spent 25 years celebrating 25 years as well, plus, and you started off in a band as well when you were a kid before you got into beauty, which I was telling the. So I don't know. It would have been amazing to see what band. What has anything come of that band? Were those guys that were part of it?
Yeah, you know what? The one of the guys is a famous DJ called Freak Nasty, based in New York.
Okay.
And he's a big sort of meditation and yoga guru now. And the other guy ended up working a lot with Natalie Imbruglia, Dave Stewart from the Eurythmics, Robbie Williams.
I do love. She is gorgeous.
she's beautiful. So yeah, I mean, everybody's done really well, and then I just decided to get into cosmetics.
As you do.
I know, as you do. Yeah. So maybe when I come back over to India, what we'll do when we do our proper makeup week thing, perhaps we'll do a bit of a gig, a bit of a jam on the stage.
Get your meditation DJ over as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. So let's get into the topic, because obviously I know you're really passionate about cruelty-free and vegan products, right? And also trying to make it as localized as possible from a manufacturing point of view. And I know you've worked, you know, we'll get onto even your own brand, that you've worked really hard to create your own brand as well and product, which you launched late last year as well. Yeah. So what, you know, and I think here, not many people are going to fully understand what cruelty-free is. And so let's just go back to basics, actually. So what exactly is cruelty-free makeup?
Okay, so cruelty-free cosmetics means that at no stage throughout the development of the product has it been tested on animals. So that includes the ingredients, raw ingredients. It means the final product in its testing stages. It means the maybe pesticides being used as well. So it's all to do with the health and the well-being of animals. So, and as you probably know, in the EU anyway, it's been illegal to test on animals for a number of years now, to do with cosmetics. Of course, animal testing is still used throughout the world for pharmaceutical purposes, etc., etc. But then there are certain countries in the world that still have it mandatory to test on animals before it can be sold on their soil. China is probably the most prevalent one. So that's why it's important to look for perhaps certain certification, if that is something that interests you.
And then so we'll come back to that. So, but if it's not tested on animals at any point of that production process, what are they tested on, or there is no? What is the kind of testing process then?
So there's vitro testing. So that means it's in a little pot in a lab. There's human testing, because now I think the main ingredients that are around, whether they're chemical or whether they're natural, have been tested for a number of years now within the industry, and their safety standards have probably been secured through the past through various means of testing, and that could have been on animal testing back in the day, many years ago, and even now with synthetic ingredients being so good. For example, musk, that is in a lot of fragrances, has now widely been removed, and it's now a synthetic version of musk. So there are lots of things that have been swapped, because there is really no need in the 21st century to test any products at all on animals.
So again, asking a basic question. So if it's cruelty-free, not being tested on animals, there is substitution with synthetic products as well, but we can all be, you know, but they're all safe, right? So it's still as safe as you would have got with products that had been tested on animals, etc.
Yeah, you know, at the end of the day, nothing would be brought to market, because you're still going to have very strict guidelines and standards before you can launch a product. So nothing would have been brought to market if there was any kind of danger to anybody. Of course, it still doesn't stop you having allergic reactions. You can still be sensitive to the most natural of ingredients, like, for example, lavender or rosemary. So it's just to put people's mind at rest, to know that really there is no need to test beauty products now on animals.
Okay, super. And then back to the certification one, because you said, you know, like there are countries that can be, they might say that, you know, they're not testing on animals. I mean, how do you choose the right product, knowing 100% that, you know, you're really interested and passionate about cruelty-free across a whole stage, plus no testing at any point on animals? So what are the kind of certificates people should look for?
Yeah, that's a really good question, Vic. Well, the best thing to do, because things can change, things can chop and change very, very quickly within the industry, and especially with brand acquisitions. So we know that a lot of brands are owned by bigger brands. For example, you have, Urban Decay. This is their all-nighter setting spray, which is one of my favorite products. That's owned by L'Oreal. Now, L'Oreal, they do sell on mainland China, so they do test on animals. Whereas Urban Decay has stipulated that they will never test on animals, so they don't test on animals. So you can still have a company, a parent company that will test on animals, but a side company won't do that. So things that you can do, but with different acquisitions that can change. So if you have a look at crueltyfree.com, crueltyfreekitty.com, and also PETA, there is the Leaping Bunny certification, which, let's see if I've got one here, so you can see what this is like. Okay, so this is a brand called Bulldog. Sorry about this. Maybe I better switch that off. Hang on a sec. Okay, so can you see the little bunny here? Ooh, there. Yeah. So that's the Leaping Bunny symbol, which means that that is absolutely cruelty-free. And that is constantly revised all the time. So you will know anything that's got cruelty, the Leaping Bunny symbol on is absolutely fine, and that is cruelty-free. And there are other symbols as well. So even on mine, for example, this is my Pro Body Glow, and I'll switch this off again in a second. So, so it's understanding your symbols, really. So there you go. There's a little kind of rabbit there. So that's not testing animals. Yeah. So it's always look at the for the symbols. So as I said, I think somebody's just asked for the website details.
Yeah. I think what we'll do, we'll put it on our Facebook page afterwards.
Right. Yeah.
So what we'll do, I'll get the names off you, and then the logos, and then we'll put it on our Makeup Week and Professional Beauty Facebook pages and our website, so people can go to the right sources.
Amazing. Yeah, that would be good.
So Bhavna, if you tomorrow check into our Facebook page, you'll be able to see the links to the pages and the sources and the logos, etc.
But it's a really good idea to keep checking out those sources like Cruelty Free Kitty and PETA, etc., because they have an up-to-date roster of the brands that are cruelty-free. Yeah.
Okay. Super. And then I think that gives us a real gist of what cruelty-free is. You also go another level because you look at vegan as well. So
yeah. So there's different sectors because it can get quite confusing. And
yes,
I think for any up-and-coming makeup artist or even established makeup artist or anybody that's in the beauty industry, you always want to think of a USP, a unique selling point for you to have a long career within the industry. And I know for me personally, because over the years, and you change and you develop and certain things become very important to you, and animal welfare is important to me, but also looking after my clients is obviously very, very important. And more clients are becoming quite discerning about the products that I use on their skin. I'm sure, I don't know any makeup artists out there if you want to comment on what I'm saying here, but there'll be some clients that I have that will only want me to use vegan brands on them. There'll be some clients that I have that will only want me to use certified organic products on them. And there'll be some clients that want me to just use cruelty-free products on them. So they're three very different sectors. So with vegan, for example, obviously nothing that is animal derived can be used in the product. Now my product is vegan, which means where is it? Pro Body Glow. So that means that it still follows the same principle as veganism, i.e. there's no animal byproducts in there that's damaging to the animal. The only ingredient that's in there is from the bees, that's anything to do with an animal, and that's from sustainable beekeeping. So things like the honey, organic beeswax, etc. So the hive isn't damaged at all, and the bees are very happy. So I followed the same principle as veganism, but I have obviously included the bees because they're so important for our well-being as a race, really. If we didn't have the bees, we'd be lost. And the property that's in honey is so good for the skin and also internally. So that's why I decided to use it. And then you have organic, which means you'll have these little symbols on here, and I'll show you this, people, so you can see. If I've got
Quick one. Vipul says hi. So Vipul's
Hey,
doing
Vipul.
a hi to you.
Thanks for joining us, Vipul. Let me show you this. So this is from a brand called Green People, and you'll see here 86% organic. So that actually states the organic percentage in there. And on the back, if I flip that around for more symbols, you'll see that there's a vegan symbol there somewhere. Vegan. And then you've also got another cruelty-free symbol. And I think they've also got an organic symbol as well there, very tiny.
Yeah.
So that's from Green People, which is a brilliant organic brand from the UK. So there are your three sectors, really. So it depends on where you want to specialize, what's important to you, and what your client base is like. But I've got some stats for you, Vic, about the natural cosmetics. So for the global natural cosmetics, it's $36 billion. And that's just for the natural cosmetic industry, which encompasses organic. And then if you look at India, their cosmetics sector that was organic and natural for last year was $803 million.
Where did you get those stats from?
The stats are from Statista. I'll forward you the company.
Yeah, do that.
Yeah. And then it's expected to grow by 7.9% for next year. So, you know, a really healthy increase. Obviously, with the organic sector, that's $125 million for the organic skin sector, and that's just in India alone. So you have the general public that are really taking this to heart. Sustainability is also very important to get organic certification. And we all know that sustainability for the past few years has been really important as society is moving ahead, especially with, I don't know what it's been like in India, but with the UK, the Blue Planet, with David Attenborough, you've had all sorts of celebrities now that are saying that they are trying to clear the plastic from the ocean. We need to reduce the single-use plastics that we're using. And I know flying into India, you're not allowed to have any plastic water bottles on the plane.
Yeah.
So
they banned. We still have plastic bottles, actually. Yeah, they've banned plastic carrier bags everywhere. That's one.
Oh, that's brilliant.
So I think there is a kind of movement towards it. I think it's a bit half-hearted, honestly, but I think there is a kind of growing consensus about people. And I think there's an opportunity, whether we take it or not as a humanity, whatever, that during this COVID phase, that, you know, the world and the environment are doing great without human interaction right now. So the world is healing. So I think there's a big opportunity for all of us domestically, globally, to look at sustainability in a much bigger way, you know, what kind of impact we're having. So whether we take it or not, I don't know, but there is an opportunity right now to drive home sustainability and sustainable products as a concept to a much bigger, you know, part of our life, actually.
Definitely, because we can do it. It's just sheer laziness and convenience, which is why we've gone down the disposable route anyway. But I was talking to, you know, the therapist Bharti Vyas. She's based in London now, but she obviously has a home in Mumbai, and she was stuck there in Mumbai because of lockdown. And she said it's incredible. There is no smog, so she can see her. It's amazing over the base. So, you know, obviously it's having a fantastic effect on the environment. But what will be interesting, and I'm sure we'll pick this up as we move along with our conversation, with COVID-19 and the increased use of PPE and single-use plastics, what kind of effect that's going to have now, because we've dropped the use of single-use plastics, and plastic was a real dirty word, but now, unfortunately, we seem to need it more in certain areas, plastic and rubber and all those kind of materials. So it will be interesting to see what happens with that.
Yeah, we've got a couple of some great questions coming in now, because I think what we'll move over, like, obviously I think we've given a baseline understanding of, you know, you've got organic, cruelty-free, etc. I think now we'll talk about what impact does that have on the makeup artist community. So partners are asking about, does it cost much more? So from a cost comparison point of view, in general, is it more expensive to use cruelty-free?
Not necessarily cruelty-free, because, for example, NYX are cruelty-free, and they're very reasonable. So, but they are a cruelty-free brand, and they're proud to be a cruelty-free brand. But if you're looking at organic, so this is mostly for skincare. So for the makeup artists out there who also do skin, or facialists or beauty therapists, it can be more expensive to have organic brands, because a lot of the time the manufacturers need to pay for certification. They have to be conscious of where they're getting their raw materials to the suppliers. So all this adds up, and that unfortunately is passed along to the consumer at the end of it. But it really is worthwhile looking at some good organic skincare brands, organic makeup brands, which if you want to touch on afterwards, we can touch on. It's difficult from a makeup artist perspective to get a brilliant look, you know, the saturation of color when you're doing eyeshadow, for example. Like these colors, you know, you would not get the strength of pigment in an organic brand as you would with this. You just can't do it, because it's the pigments like Red Lake 6 and all those kind of pigments that are super strong and that give that intensity, but they may not necessarily be as good on the environment as what we would like.
So the real balance, like you need to
you have to
try and get
an informed decision on what's important to you, what your budget is like, and also what your client will want as well, what will be important to the client. So, but if you take it on board yourself as to make it quite personal to you, you will find the balance for you. Personally, for me, I spend more on getting organic, really, really, really good organic skincare products, because for me, your makeup is only as good as your skin. It's so important to look after the skin, and that way you'll use less foundations, because the complexion will be healthier, it'll be clearer, so you'll save money that way. But I've got some of my favorite products around me, so as we go on, we can talk about that if you want, Vic.
Do you find, can you charge extra to clients? Like, you know, if you're saying, look, I'm using organic, vegan, cruelty-free, is there a premium that you could charge to clients for?
Yeah, because, you know, you're specializing at the end of the day. So you are offering a very informed service to clients, and you will find that people will take that up. They will be impressed with your knowledge on what you're putting on their skin and what impact it could potentially have on their health. So it's a really, really good way for you to set yourself apart from other makeup artists and other beauty professionals.
Great. So while some of it, you know, especially organic, could cost a bit more, you could pass some of that cost on and actually earn a bit more as an artist. Right.
Yeah.
Super. Another question in terms of, is the shelf life of organic cruelty-free, is the shelf life similar, or is there a variance between the shelf life?
The shelf life will probably be less on an organic product because they usually have less preservatives in there. So, but that's only after opening. Now, I'm sure everybody knows this, but I'm going to get a product for you to show you another symbol. It's called the period after opening symbol. And here we go. So I'll just switch this off so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, it's a little pot. Can you see that little pot there? And it's got a number in there. Yeah, is that clear?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, yeah. So that says 6 months. So basically, from when you start using a product, that little pot symbol means as soon as you start using it, you only have that amount of time left to use it before you then discard it. Mascaras are usually 6 months, but then I would always change a mascara after using it after 3 months.
Okay.
But yeah, it's that little pot there. So just be conscious of that when you're using a product.
All right, super. And we have Anil asking, do organic products work well in polluted countries? And I think India will be one of them, where the air, water, etc. Is highly polluted. Can these kind of products also work well here?
Yeah, definitely, because at the end of the day, we are organic beings. So we can absorb quite a lot of what we put onto our skin. So 60% of what you put onto your skin, depending on the molecular structure of the product, will go into your system. So when our bodies are so polluted anyway, through our respiratory system, breathing, etc., it's so important to be aware of what you put in topically on your skin, because our skin is a form of it excretes, so it's part of our excretion system, so it excretes the waste through sweat, but also it absorbs. So if you're being quite conscious about what you're putting onto your skin, that's going to have a positive impact onto your body as well. But definitely, especially in polluted countries, I would be lost without using my organic products, certainly when I travel internationally.
Yeah. Can you mention a few brands? Because I think here, obviously, it's still a new concept. And I remember when we did a makeup week last year, and you had to tell some of the brands that actually they were cruelty-free.
Yeah.
Even the brand managers weren't fully aware of their own product line being cruelty-free. So I think if you could mention, just for our community here, what kind of brands they could look out for.
Okay, so Huda.
Okay, yeah.
Now, I'm not sure. I don't think Huda is in a standalone store in India yet. I don't think so.
It's in Nika. So Huda's in Nika. They're the exclusive distributors for that, yeah.
Okay, so you can get Huda there. They're cruelty-free. And Kat Von D is cruelty-free. Let me just try and find you one of their products. So she's a brilliant makeup artist, and her products are also vegan. So these are cruelty-free and vegan. So that's Kat Von D. And her concealers are amazing, and her Locket foundation is brilliant if you want something that's long wearing and also sweat resistant. So this has got like a 24-hour wear, but very comfortable to wear, and great shades as well. Really good for the Indian market. So that's Kat Von D. Then we've got obviously NYX. They're cruelty-free.
Yep.
It's very affordable. Smashbox. They've got obviously standalone store.
Yeah. They're in India as well, yeah.
Yeah. And then Kiko. I don't know if have you got Kiko? You're back. There you go. You do. Good. So there's Kiko. Urban Decay. That's another good one. This is my Born to Run palette. This is one that I tend to use a lot of the time. And the shades are amazing. I don't know if you guys at home have seen some of these shades, but if you've got a very small kit or you're conscious of taking a lot of stuff around you, that's one of the must-have palettes, because there's shades in there that I could quite easily just take this and some brushes, and I'd be happy. I could create eyes and cheeks with this. It's very good. And another one, Morph. Now, I'm not sure if you can get this in India yet, but this is very reasonable, but you'll probably be able to get that online, I'm sure. Morph. Burt's Bees. There you go, Burt's Bees. That's another good one. A really good lip products. And Too Faced. Anybody that's got very straight lashes, this mascara will change your life. I use this a lot on my Chinese clients who tend to have very, very straight lashes. It gives the most amazing curl. There you go. And it's got this sort of beveled hourglass shape wand to it. But that's incredible, lifting up and curling the lash. And also Kryolan is cruelty-free too.
Okay, super.
So that's, again, you know, really good shades in the Kryolan kits. I think a lot of people tend to dismiss Kryolan because they don't see it as being, I don't know, as trendy as, say, Huda. But their history is rooted in the science of makeup. So it's definitely a staple in my kit to have Kryolan there.
Brilliant. What about vegan brands? Any particular brands that are vegan only?
Okay, vegan. As I said, Kat Von D is vegan. Skincare, I'm not sure if you can get Green People, but they are vegan as well. Really good skincare product brand there, especially for sun care. That's really good. These are vegan. Now we'll probably go on to talk about face wipes in a little while, but Cheeky Panda. Sorry, it's switched on again. Cheeky Panda. These are biodegradable wipes. Now, I only use wipes. I never use wipes to remove makeup. I will only use wipes to maybe clean surfaces, whiz over my hands, and then I would sanitize them. But they're always handy to have. But these are biodegradable ones, whereas the ones that most people use are not at all, and they cause so many problems because they just end up in landfill.
All right, super. Let's move on to the kind of more technical stuff. Can you still create great looks using organic, cruelty-free, or is there a difference in the outcome? You know what you're doing.
No, you can use. I mean, look at the pigments in NYX. You can still create some amazing looks. I mean, this is the Huda Retrograde one, which is a beautiful collection of shades. So yeah, if it's cruelty-free, yes, you can. If you are looking to have a lot more organic makeup, then what are the brands? There's a brand called Inika, which I love. Here it is. Now the problem with Inika, well, actually it's not a problem, but you see the printing on here. I'll switch this off again. The printing erodes down because it's done with a special kind of ink that doesn't damage the environment. This is probably the world's most certified makeup brand. Inika Organic, they're an Australian brand, but they've got international distribution, and I'm sure that they import into India anyway. But yes, that's a really good brand, and their eyeshadows have got fantastic pigments to them. And there's another brand which is also vegan, is called Armani, as Imani, not Armani, Imani. These are some of the shades, and then that's the brand logo, Imani.
Imani, okay.
Yeah, and they're an American brand, and they're certified vegan as well and cruelty-free. So that's a good one to look at. But with those two brands, you could easily, I could just have a kit with those brands, and I could easily make some sensational looks with them.
Wow. Okay. And all these brands would be available on the websites you mentioned. Is that right?
Yeah, there should be cruelty-free kitty, and also maybe not on PETA, because sometimes PETA is slow at improving who they stock, but cruelty-free kitty certainly. And this is another product for any bridal artists out there. Again, this is Anika. This is the powder. I think I used this last year at the demo, and it's a powder that has an SPF of 25. So again, because obviously of your environment over there in India, you need something that's going to protect the skin but not going to clog the skin. Now this is a mineral-based powder, and it's really good. And it's got 18 different shades, so there will be shades there for your clients. And you just literally buff it on the skin, and it creates an amazing look, a flawless look, but without feeling cloggy or cakey on the skin. And that's, again, Anika organic. So definitely look into that one.
Super. Do you know, when you transition from using normal products to cruelty-free, vegan, etc., did you find there was a kind of adaptation phase, that like stuff you had to learn and unlearn?
Yeah.
You know, and so could you explain more about that transition, for example, to viewers watching this and they're trying to switch? What are the kind of issues that are going to come up, you know, that you've been through, you've learned? So what advice would you give to them?
Definitely the main issue that I had was my favorite brands that are then acquired by a different parent company, and then they revoke their cruelty-free status. One of them being NARS. Now, NARS was one of my favorite brands to create looks, and unfortunately, I think it was bought out by a different company, and then they started to sell in mainland China, which of course, where it's mandatory to test their products on animals. So I had to get rid of all my NARS from my kit, which was quite sad. It was a sad day. So things like that are important to, well, you have to 100% believe it, and you have to 100% throw yourself into it. There's no point in just saying, well, I'll just have the NARS creamy concealer because I love that, but everything else will be cruelty-free. If you don't 100% believe it, your clients won't 100% believe it. And for somebody that perhaps is very passionate about cruelty-free, it could be a celebrity, it could be a bride, whoever, and you're not being transparent with them, and you're saying you're a cruelty-free artist, and then they suddenly see your NARS foundation, chances are they will know that NARS is not cruelty-free, because they make it their business to know that. They're so passionate about it. And you will lose a client, and you'll lose your reputation. So again, it's so important that you keep yourself informed and your kit up to date, 100%.
And is that part of your kind of brand positioning at the moment? Like, you know, because when you became kind of really passionate about cruelty-free, vegan, that, you know, you do use that as part of your USPs. So look, you know, to differentiate yourself from other artists.
Yeah, exactly. But, you know, initially I lost quite a few clients because, and these are company clients that I was working for on an international level, but I couldn't use them anymore. So it's a bit of a risk, and you have to really believe it in your heart. But I couldn't stand up on the stage and talk about a brand that I knew over in China was testing on animals. It's just wrong. So, and again, ingredients are important for me, and the performance of the product, but also the ethics of a brand is very, very important for me. And if you embrace that as a makeup artist or a beauty professional, then that passion will come through with your clients. And that's another reason why they will book you again and again and again.
Okay, brilliant. Any other tips for like the transition? So part one big tip was, like, you know, if you're fully into it and there's an integrity issue about what product, so you had to ditch, you know, part of your kit. But any other kind of transition issues between going from using products that are tested on animals to cruelty-free, vegan, becoming more of a cruelty-free artist?
Well, if you educate yourself more on the ingredients of a product or the ethics of a brand, then that way you're educating yourself. So it's improving your knowledge within the industry. So that sets you apart as well. So it's not only discarding things that are personal to you from your kit, but it's also increasing your knowledge. And once you start to delve into ingredients of products, and you delve into the backstory of brands, you'll naturally veer away from some of the brands because you think, wow, I never knew that they did this. You know what? It's great to paint a lovely picture on a face. It's great to use the face as canvas and just paint and express yourself. I was never that kind of makeup artist. For me, it was about making somebody feel good as well as look good. That was so important for me. And I'm pleased to see that it's moving more that way. I think you still have a lot of makeup artists that don't really engage with their clients. They're very super creative, and they will just paint a face and the client leaves. But I think now there's more of that interaction where it's a connection, and that somebody will buy into you as a person because of your ethics, because of your standards, as well as your creativity.
Brilliant. What was just got a couple of questions. What was the mascara you mentioned before?
Okay, Too Faced.
Too Faced. Okay.
It's called Better Than Sex.
Well, you know what? It sounds like a Donald Trump brand,
Better Than Sex mascara by a company called Too Faced, and they are cruelty-free. And this is especially good on straight lashes. But you can see that it's got like an hourglass kind of wand to it.
Yeah.
And the way you would put that on is just hold it next to the lashes. And of course, the pitfall with this is if you're using it on clients and you want to use the wand, you must give your client this mascara. Never, and I see professionals do this, they will use this mascara and then they will sanitize, in inverted commas, the wand and put it back in. You're not going to get rid of all the bacteria. You're also going to end up putting the sanitized ingredients into your mascara, which could have some cross-contamination issues as well. So if you're going to use this mascara, you'll still get a pretty good look. You won't get the benefits of that wand, but if you use a disposable wand, these are bamboo handle wands that I use. So again, I'm very conscious about the amount of plastic that I'm using. You would just pop that in once, never plunge it in. Obviously, you're going to trap the air. Put it in once, and then put it onto one eye, throw that away, get another one out, put it in once, put it onto the other eye, and away you go. You'll still get a curve, but you may need to use your lash curlers because you won't have the actual wand.
What, when you said if you do use the wand, would you then sell that? Would you kind of then retail sell it to your customer as part of your service?
What you can do, if I'm doing a wedding, I put that into my costings. So I will always say, included in this price, your lip product and your mascara, and they're absolutely fine with that because then they get a brand new shiny new mascara, and I always take it out of the box, out of the packaging, in front of my client, so they know that it's not just one that's been in my kit. And the same with with the lip product, I always peel back the cellophane and everything, and then use it on the client, and then give it to them, so they know that it's absolutely clean.
Yeah, we'll spend a few minutes later on that because I think it is, I know you're very passionate and focused on the health and safety side, and you've seen some of the bad habits globally and even in India when you've been at that, that artist engaging by accident. We'll talk a bit about that later, especially given the phase we're in right now. But another question on, do brushes and sponges come into these kind of cruelty-free categories as well?
Yeah, Let me get my brush roll. So this is a brand called Nanshi. So that's my little brush roll here.
That's what? Nasty?
Nanshi. So N-A-N-S-H-Y, Nanshi.
N-A-N-S-H-Y, okay.
Yeah, and I have probably about 3 or 4 brush rolls full of brushes, because what I tend to do, now this is probably something that makeup artists that are watching can relate to. If you have a series of clients, like a bridal party or whoever, or if you're doing a catwalk show, I tend to have 3 rolls out. So I can then, and I've got an assistant, so I then do a look using one lot of brushes, and then I can move on to the next one whilst my assistant is cleaning my brushes for me. And then I can move on to the next person with another roll of clean brushes. And we alternate like that. So I'm constantly cleaning my brushes in between clients. And I think that's really important to do that. So this is the Nanshi brushes, and they're beautiful. And you can get them in, I'm slightly obsessed, as you can see, because most of my brushes are Nanshi. Let me just stand here. So these are some wooden ones, which are beautiful. And they're really nice. So these are all synthetic and PETA approved. And PETA obviously is the organisation to prevent animal cruelty. So that's that one. And then you've got it in a black kind of granite. I don't know if you can see it here. It's not great, is it? But that's a beautiful concealing and blending brush that I use. Absolutely gorgeous. And then this is a buffing brush that I use as well. So you can have it in white. And this sets you apart as well. I think brushes are very important to set you apart. The tools are important. I don't use a lot of them. I have probably about 8, maybe 10 brushes, types of brushes that I go to all the time. I know I see a lot of makeup artists have like 30 brushes that they go through. I just use about 10. Because I think that, you know, you can definitely create amazing looks, but you don't need all these brushes. That's a really good one.
Yeah, we had Corey yesterday talking about how to perfect, you know, a great makeup kit, you know, and using, you know, health and being very health and safety conscious as well. So he's, you know, I remember when you guys chatted last November that it was very focused on you don't need huge kits and lots of palettes and brushes, which I think a lot of artists, especially the newer ones today, kind of get confused about because there are so many products available right now.
They are, and you know, it's expensive, and especially with this climate as we're in now, where we can't work as professionals. So money is very, very important to us. So you don't want to be spending money if you don't need a color. So for example, with, as I said, with the Born to Run palette, you'll see these kind of shades with so many different brands. And you know what? You can get away with anything on there. You could create any kind of look using those shades. And you'll see so many different replicas of colors from different brands. There'll be a different collection every year. Do you need it? No. As long as your palette is still in circulation and still available, so your client can purchase if they want to, then that's really all I take into consideration. So say, for example, this was a limited edition and I couldn't get it anymore. Because I tend to work a lot with private clients, but also celebrities and maybe the magazines, I probably wouldn't be able to use this anymore because it was a limited edition and it's not available. So that's the only thing to be mindful of, but that's part of their main collection. Yeah.
How would you, so I think good point there about, you know, you said you can work with limited palette, you know, because you've got, you've been around, you've got the expertise, you've been around many years perfecting that. So what would you advise artists today? Like, how can they create that perfect look with a small palette? You know, what are the kind of techniques and knowledge they need to, you know, can you impart to them, whilst also focusing on the hygiene side as well?
Yeah. Okay. Well, the buildable palettes are pretty good. So I know Krylon do them, and I think Inglot. Do you guys have Inglot over in India? I think you do, don't you?
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
So Inglot are really good, and I've got their Freedom system. So this is their highlighter. So they are, as you can see, it's a very well-worn highlighter that I need to get rid of. But this is all magnetized, so you just replace them and you put them into a kit like that. Very, very slim, easy to stack up as well, and you can then interchange them. So now I'll push that one out and get my new one and pop that back in. So things like that are an easy way for you to just look for a cool brown, a rich warm brown shadow, a midnight blue eyeshadow. So you would go through the types of colors that you need in your palettes. So definitely all the primary colors, and then a few neutral tones, and then find out which of the brands have the best formulation. So good saturation of color, and obviously make sure that they are cruelty free. And then with Inglot and with Cruelty, obviously they are cruelty free, and then build them up that way. So you're minimizing the amount of space that you need for these bulky compacts, which can be quite heavy. Yes, they look great, but they can be heavy and take up a lot of space. So if you don't need them, don't use them. Just build your own.
From a hygiene point of view, what other kind of tips can you give the community, especially now, because we have to be much more conscious about our hygiene side? And what are some of the mistakes or bad habits you commonly see artists engaging in that you say, look, stop that now and do it this way?
Oh, okay. One thing, and because I judge a lot for different competitions, certainly in the UK, if I see people put products on their brush and then blow on it and then put it on somebody's face, that's horrific. It's so bad. It really is so bad. Never blow on a brush. I've seen people, even if they've got some powder on somebody's face, they blow on their face to get it off. It's basic stuff. And this is, I think, sometimes what can be overlooked when people are studying or if they're self-taught. You know, we've got some amazing creative artists. I self-taught anyway. I mean, I had some training throughout the years that I've worked with many different brands. But I never had the formal training of going to a college, for example. However, I made it my business to learn about hygiene, health, cross-contamination, because I care about my clients. And it's definitely, for any makeup artist out there watching, anybody in the beauty industry, if you care about your clients, then you will learn the correct health and hygiene. So, simple things. You know, I use a brand called Pro Hygiene Collection. Switch this up again. I'm pretty sure that they import into India, but I know there's probably lots of brands that are out there in India. You want to make sure that it has minimum 60% alcohol in there. I know this one does. And you then, if you're going to, this one actually cleans brushes, but also it can clean product. So you would spray it then onto, say for example, you're using, I don't know, so this is like my concealer palette here from Kryolan and Dermablend. So if I was using this, before I use it on any client, I would spray it with my sanitizing spray in front of the client. Let that dry, work on something else. It's important that everything you do when it comes to hygiene is done in front of your client so that they can see. So what I always do when I go in, usually if I'm going into somebody's house, I take my shoes off, unless they say, no, please keep them on. And then I would go and wash, I'd ask if I can wash my hands straight away, so they know they've done that. Then in front of the client, once I've got my toweling roll out. So I've put something down to their surface, unless, of course, sometimes they have towels down for you. But I would usually put that down, lay out all my products so they can see everything's nice and clean. That's important. Then before I touch their face, I sanitize my hands. So I've got my sanitizing spray here. I've got another sanitizing spray here, and you just sanitize your hands in front of the person, in front of your client, and then away you go before you even touch their face. If you're a smoker, and again, this is another thing that drives me insane, when people don't wash their hands after having a cigarette, it's terrible. You know, you can smell it. So always, again, if you're a smoker, wash your hands after having a cigarette. Never let your client see you smoke. And I would always hand sanitize again before you even touch their face after that.
Yeah, great tip. We had Nena from Sri Lanka saying the same kind of point in the morning about especially South Asian culture, and in Sri Lanka for breakfast they have a lot of rice and curry. Yeah. So she was, you know, and she said when she used to go to TV studios for interviews, etc., she would not let any of the artists in the studio perform on her because she knew that the hands were like, you know, filthy.
Yeah, and also breath. You know, you just must make sure that your breath is good. So that's things like flossing. So many people still don't floss, but bacteria can get in between the teeth, and that can cause, obviously, bad breath. So flossing, brushing your tongue as well in the morning gets rid of a lot of bacteria that builds up on the tongue. And if you've had garlic the night before, or curry, or whatever, anything that's quite pungent, of course, you're going to get that on your breath. So a mouthwash. There's a company called That, which is a spray that you can put into your mouth. It's like a foam. You put it around your mouth and you spit it out. So you don't even need water with it. And that will completely deodorize your mouth and have a slight freshness to it. Because it's worse than chewing gum. If I see a makeup artist chew gum, it's so bad. It's so unprofessional when they're talking to the client, and then really bad.
Yeah, and you know, these are great tips right now because we've been having a lot of conversations amongst the salon community and the beauty community about how are they going to build confidence in consumers, and how do you sustain that level of confidence given, you know, we're having to go back post-lockdown to start working with clients, and there will be a lot of paranoia initially about health and safety. So I think these are great tips about, from a makeup artist point of view, especially if you're a freelancer, etc. You know, you've got to work on these basics to make sure that you build that confidence in clients you're working with. Because if you don't work on these habits and customers see you, they're going to tell others that, you know what, I would not go to artists because they don't practice health and safety. And right now, you know, we're all paranoid about it and conscious about, you know, health and safety and, you know, transmitting stuff.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, I mean, I've got everything in. I've got my N95 face mask as well. Personally, this is a very personal opinion, I know I've got a very strong immune system, and I'm very healthy, and never had the flu, etc., etc. And I think it's important for everybody within the beauty industry to have a vested interest in their health and well-being. So if you know you've got a shocking diet, that you survive off Diet Coke and you have lots of sodas, you smoke, you drink too much, etc., etc., then it's a really nice wake-up call to think, you know what, I don't want to get sick. And the chances are, if you are pushing your body and not...
him, and he's back. Hello.
Sorry, I got slightly obsessed then, didn't I? And started talking too much about health and hygiene.
No, it's good. So while we were logging back in, I was just telling people watching, saying, if you've got any questions about health and hygiene, ask them, because Armand's the guy to ask because, I know you're, very focused on it and you know how important it is, which, not many artists, especially if they've not been well trained, don't fully appreciate the actual significance of it and the consequences of bad habits.
Yeah, because it's important to be knowledgeable about good health and hygiene, but also you still can be conscious about the impact that that can have on the environment and sustainability. So we are at a very, very interesting time where there is a lot of paranoia, a lot of fear globally about hygiene and health and wellness. But that will also impact, and it could have a negative impact back on the environment, because we're going to be using a lot more, as we said before, PPE and a lot more plastics, a lot more disposables. So it's about you as an individual and as a professional to help forge the way, making more positive choices for you, for your clients, and also for your kids and for your planet.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And this is a stage where we need to make those kind of choices.
Yeah.
We've got one question from Sarah. How to preserve and restore makeup in a sanitized way, especially in these quarantine days?
Okay. Preserve and restore. Preserving makeup, I think you mean by keeping them clean, I presume. There is a spray, and I've used it before. It's my Pro Hygiene collection that I spray on my products. So anything that has a creamy base to it, you can even use it on your eyeshadow products. So you would just spray it on there, and it kills 99.9% of bacteria and viruses. That's a very good one. That's by Pro Hygiene collection. And it's the same place. I'm pretty sure they import to India, but you may find somewhere local. You just need to Google. Let's switch this back again. So that's the company, Pro Hygiene collection. And this is where I get my disposable bamboo ones from, and my lip products as well. So again, what you use on the lips, your disposables, you're going to be using a lot more of these. Ooh, there you go. So this has got the little brush at the end. So you've got the nylon brush at the end, and it's a bamboo wand. So you know that you're not using a plastic really there. It's the same with the Mascara ones, which have got a really nice tip to them. So you can get onto the inner corner lashes quite easily. And this is by Pro Hygiene collection. So bamboo base and the a nice tapered spoolie at the end as well.
Brilliant.
So hopefully that answered the question. So spraying it with a good sanitizing spray, you may be able to find them locally. You need
and would you do that every time? Would you do that like every time you're about to use it, and then at the end as well? Like, how often would you do that process to ensure you're preserving it?
Okay, so one thing, I think you just need to be more conscious about this, and you need to be more visible about this in front of your client. So first of all, you need to make sure that your products are all clean. So before you even leave your house, make sure your kit is very, very clean. So no smudges anywhere. It's super, super clean. Then when you lay them out, you get them all out, and you obviously put them on. I like to use a black microfiber towel. I lay that out and I put them all out. Because that way it catches all the products, and then I can throw that in the washing machine when I get back in. And I would now start to use a boil wash for my towels. Then if I'm using something that's new and I'm peeling back the cellophane, there's no need to clean it again. Your client has seen that it's brand new, so there's no need to clean it again. But for example, if you've got an existing, say for example, my little concealer palette here by Dermacolor, I would sanitize that first, put it on one side, carry on with something else. Once that's dried, I will then use that on my client. And obviously I would make sure that she sees that all my brushes are clean as well. So hopefully that helps.
Yeah, no, it's good. I think some of these tips get missed out through kind of academies here, and it's that level of attention to hygiene part. I'm not sure how much it's ingrained in the training. So it's good to just remind people about the basics.
One thing that will change for me is I'm quite scrupulous about washing my hands anyway, but I would always use the back of my hand for the lip product. So I scrape it off the bullet, put it onto the back of my hand. I would use that. Now I won't do that because you cannot really have any contact with your skin that you don't particularly need to have. Depending on what the guidelines are going to be set out like, we may need to work with gloves on. We don't know this yet. And if that's the case, that's going to be hard enough as it is to get a type of glove that you can cling to and have control over on a product. But then get an aluminium slide, or one of those decanting pallets that you can get, and then put the product into that and then put it onto the face. Never use, and I've seen this before, which is terrible. Let me get a product and I'll show you. I see people get a lipstick. I'll see people get a lipstick and they'll get their lip brush and go from the bullet onto the face and then go back onto the face. Huge no-no. You must never ever do that. Scrape off the product, put it into your sanitized palette, aluminium palette tray, and then use it from the tray onto the face. Never use this. And it's the same with pencils. So if you've got an eyeliner that you're about to use, what I would use then, so say for example, this is my favorite black eyeliner by Green People. This is organic, by the way. I would always sharpen that in front of my client. First of all, I would spray it with the sanitizing spray. Then I would sharpen repeatedly so that they can see that that is absolutely clean before you go in. Now, we may, it depends again what the guidelines are, we may be told not to use products in the waterline because obviously with COVID-19, apparently the transmission is through mucous membrane. So that's through the mouth, the nose, through the eyes. So you may have to ask your client to bring their own, or you use theirs. And they would use their sharpener to sharpen the product, and then you would put it on for them. So that's key. So that may happen, it may not, we don't know. It depends on how you feel as well as an artist. You may then say in your stipulations when you're doing a consultation with them to say, when I come over, you need to provide your own mascara, your own lip pencil, lip gloss, and eyeliner. Now you could perhaps provide that for them and incorporate it into your costs and pass that over to your client. And then they have brand new products in those 4 areas. But anything that's going to involve touching saliva or around the eyes would either be used by using their products, the client's own products, or you would buy completely new and give it to them.
Whole new world coming up.
It is, and we just do not know. But I think it's better that we prepare for the worst case scenario. So even like, for example, I've got my face mask. It's quite an easy one. It's pretty comfortable to wear. Hopefully you can still hear me.
Yes.
You've got the carbon filter here, and it's not too hot. So there you go. It's weird, isn't it? So weird. And I've got my gloves too. So, and there's a visor, and I do have a visor as well.
Okay.
So that's just in case you're ticking all the boxes then. But it depends on what the work is that makeup artists who are watching are doing. So if, for example, you are working on set a lot, then you'll have various guidelines with your production company. If you're going to somebody's house as a bridal makeup artist, then it's good for you to look as if you're super prepared. So the visor, the face mask, and your gloves are standard.
Yeah. Okay, brilliant. Cool. Any other tips before we wrap up?
No, I just think, have passion with what you do and look into your products that you're using, streamline them down. I have set favorites now. I have favorite foundation, favorite powder, favorite shadows, and just really invest in them. So now is a good time to go through your kit, get rid of the stuff you really don't use, you don't need. Also, the products that you've used for such a long time. So the little symbol that I told you about before, the period after opening symbol, which again, just in case people have missed the previous session, you have a little open pot there, and that says this is a concealer from Studio Fix, and that's 6 months. So if you have opened that and you started to use it and it's a year old, bin that product. I know it's quite, you may think, oh wow, I've hardly ever used it. I've only used it on 2 clients and I decant it and everything. Doesn't matter. If you have got a product that you've been using over the period of time that's the period after opening symbol, you must discard it. It's so important. And I would have 2 mini kits on the go as well. So I'd have a favorite set of eyeshadows in one, favorite foundations, etc. And I would duplicate it and have 2 kits, just in case you are going from client to client. And then at least you can show your clients that you have a completely new set for them.
And would you always have an assistant shadowing you at the same time, like so they can clean up the kit by transitioning? Or
I think that's a great idea. And you know what? I know the industry in India, there's so many men and women that want to become a makeup artist. They're happy to learn. And what the way than you to pass on your strict hygiene and health skills to them, instilling in them the future of our industry, how important it is to prepare, how important it is to look clean, your personal hygiene, your personal presentation as well. If you've got a cold sore, if you've got bad acne that you haven't concealed properly, if you've had a cigarette and your hands smell of smoke, that's terrible. You're not going to be employed again. And now more than ever, clients are going to be so wary about who they employ. So your consultation process, whether you do that now over Zoom or over Instagram, if you can't meet them, is so important. So stress to them how important their health and their hygiene is, and your own health and own hygiene.
That's a great tip. It's almost, I don't think many will understand this, but it sounds like Mr. Miyagi teaching the Karate Kid. And just getting the basics right.
I don't understand that one.
You're much younger, of course. You're much younger and better looking.
No, it is really important to inspire the next generation, get somebody to assist you, be strict with what they're wearing, be strict with their makeup. They are representing you, so they are going to become an extension on you. Think of yourself as your own brand. You need to buy into it, and you need your assistant to buy into it. And in that way, if you believe and you buy into how good and how hygienic, not only how creative you are, you will never want for work, and you will ride this out. And that's the most important thing.
Brilliant. I think we'll end on that, because I think we've imparted a lot of knowledge, and there's a lot for people now to digest. So thank you so much, Armand.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. Yeah. I just wish I could be with
you.
Hopefully I can come over to India soon. I hope.
I know. Hopefully. I don't know where flights are starting, but we will be back with the physical event as well soon, hopefully.
Definitely. I hope so. Take care. Thanks so much, everyone, for watching as well, and stay safe and healthy and happy out there. And hopefully I'll see you again soon.
Brilliant. Cheers.
Well, I'll see everybody tomorrow, won't I? Is it tomorrow that I'm hosting a few of these sessions?
Yes, you are now.
So tomorrow, I think at 12:30 and no, tomorrow at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and also at 5 p.m. I'll be with Ojas and I can't remember who else, but I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be
And
fun.
Chirag. Oh, and you've got the big ones. You've got Ojas and Chirag tomorrow, so that's going to be brilliant.
No pressure. I better have
No
my
pressure.
Definitely. Take care, everyone, and thanks for joining.
Super.
Thanks, Vic.
Right. Thank you, guys.
Take care.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.